8, coming to you live from all points places. This is Reverse G, aka Kamata, your senior admin, and joining me, as usual, is the admin team of Rowan and Athens.
Hi guys.
Yo.
And we have our usual layabouts, Leviathan, Ofuda, and Lunik.
Hey guys.
I want to be an apple.
Yeah, so they've been joining us. They're almost semi-regular guests of ours now, and they've joined us for a few weeks. So, without further ado, let us get started with our headlines, because we've got some really big news that dropped literally the day after we finished IPLcast 7.
Okay, the biggest announcement at the moment: Omega Ruby and Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. So right after the last IPLcast, Korokoro leaked with a whole bunch of Pokemon news. So it's safe to say everyone has already caught up on it, but we'll do a run through for gushing's sake because we'll be spending a fair bit of time on that. First thing, Groudon and Kyogre's alternate forms are not Mega Evolutions but Primal forms. They're described as a regression called Ancient De-Evolution. It's supposed to be caused by nature's energy and will come with new moves and probably a power boost. It's looking interesting. It's supposed to be connected to Mega Evolutions, but I think we'll have to wait for the game for that to be properly explained.
Yeah.
Is this anything like the Kyurem mechanic? Because I remember them expanding on that a fair bit.
That was interesting. It was an interesting take on that one.
I wish they would do that a little more, to be honest.
Yeah.
Really,
I think they will be doing it a lot more now.
We should really give the floor to Rob, because one of the greatest things he's been waiting for at drop.
That's not the next one. That's the next one after that.
The next one after that? Okay, let's discuss the first one first. Yeah. So
next one is so it's all pretty much just one section. I've broken it down. So the next one is Diancie now has a Mega Evolution. It remains Rock Fairy and has a more fabulous dress than Mega Gardevoir. It is also the only 6th gen Pokemon to have a Megalution.
Yay! Magical girl Diancie takes the field.
This and the new Sailor Moon anime coming out now. Yeah. Coincidence? I think not.
They did this. I felt like they did this with Pangoro because it's like he's basically Jotaro of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and they released the remaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that. So I'm thinking that if we're gonna make predictions of Gen 7 and Gen 8, we just need to go scouring all the anime and figure out which ones are getting a reboot at about the same time. And just start say, oh, that protagonist, okay, he's a new Pokemon. Sora and Mewtwo are going to be the next double couple, and they're both going to know it correct. That tension is so thick, but that's beside the point. As soon as I found out about Magical Girl Diancie, I immediately started scouring Tumblr just to make sure that it did not get lost on the masses, and it did not, and I was quite pleased.
I'm still waiting for a decent Wii U title Pokemon, because Pokemon Rumble, whatever it was really great, except you didn't sell the little figures here, so no one was going to buy it anyway.
Real shame. They look great. We managed to ship 2 of them in, and they really are nice.
They're brilliant, and they were precursors of what Nintendo's planning to do with Amiibo. But yeah, we couldn't buy any here.
Are they the little spinny top figures? Because I've got a Feraligatr right here, and it is the most badass thing on the planet.
No, they look like they have the.
He cut out.
Oh, he's cut it. Okay, so basically they are. You know how the Pokemon game looks, that wind-up toy one? They look like that. That's what the figurines look like. But they're essentially the same idea as Amiibo, or essentially like Skylanders, where you put them onto the Wii pad in that little section, and it actually integrates them into the game. So they'll pop up on the game, and they're actually level 50, so they're really good to have at the start. They're probably the strongest thing you're going to have for about half the game.
And they you can upgrade their stats as well. So if you collect points, you can then put them into the figure, and the figure will remember what you've done. So
it's really, really cool. It's just a shame that they didn't have it here.
It's a freaking shame the marketing for that was so poor.
Yeah, I do hope they do bring Amiibo out here, though, because I want that Zelda figurine.
They will.
I'm so upset that they split her and Sheik in the new one. I'm just so upset.
I think they'll be bringing it out. Don't you worry. They've kind of have a commitment to the market here to at least bring the first string of Amiibo out.
Yeah, probably eventually.
Yep.
Anyway, the next one, the third one, I'll let you read that out, Rob.
Mega Swampert and Sceptile have been announced. Mega Sceptile looks like it's growing seeds down its back, and it apparently can shoot its Christmas tree tail off at the opponent, which is the coolest way to shoot a missile on the planet ever. And while Mega Swampert looks like I can lift a much big Bara Pokemon, oh my god, do I want him to lift my weights? Oh my god. Holy crap. Mega's...
You got any more left in you?
Maybe. Mega Sceptile's ability has been revealed to be Lightning Rod, which seems like a complete detraction for an actually useful ability, and Mega Swampert's ability is Swift Swim, which, considering his bolting mass, shouldn't be the way it is, but I'm gonna roll with it because
I reckon that'd be interesting to see something of that size move so quickly. I reckon that'd be cool.
It'd be hilarious, to be honest.
But if you think about it, Mega Sceptile, is it actually Grass Dragon, or is it still just
Grass Dragon? It's Grass Dragon. It's Grass Dragon.
Considering that it's Grass Dragon, having Lightning Rod isn't that much of a bad idea, because logically the Dragon typing would make it not very effective. So while it's not perfect like Ground type, it's still fairly useful.
It's the only quad resistance it gets, and it just straight up turns that into an immunity. But thankfully, they changed Lightning Rod's mechanics so that it's now immune to electricity, and it gets a special attack bonus. With a,
that's useful.
Yeah, it's like yes, especially in doubles. I had an argument on DA, not really an argument, but somebody else and I were discussing Mega Sceptile, and like he said that its ability was weak as butts, and I'm like, no, it's not. And I'm talking with somebody else who's like, this could actually work. And I'm thinking discharge. I'm thinking Heliolisk. I'm thinking pair up somebody with powerful electric moves, and then Mega Sceptile who gets a power bonus, and then just constantly spam Leaf Storm, Giga Drain, and Solar Beam, and Dragon Pulse, and Outrage. And I'm really excited. I want to know what stats are boosted and which ones aren't, because is he going to be more physical, or is he going to be a special sweeper, or is he going to get a speed boost in one of his attack stats? I don't know, and it's exciting because I want to give my Athens character, I want to give my admin character, Athens, I want his Sceptile to Mega Evolve, and this is the entire plan of bringing that specific Sceptile back in the first place, and I'm excited, okay? And I know that my brother is going to pick Swampert, and he's going to die every single time, and I don't care, and this generation is going to rock, because I love Mega Aggron too, but Mega Sceptile, oh my god, just bring him here, please. I will draw all the lightning and destroy the competition.
I wonder if Mega Swampert is still going to be water ground, or if it's going to get a dragon typing as well.
Mega Monkey, please.
Mega Swampert? I think it's still the same.
Yeah.
Still water ground.
Okay, next one. Steven Stone, the third generation champion, owns a Mega Charizard X, and Team Aqua and Magma have redesigns. The player characters also have redesigns. So has anyone seen the pictures of that?
I have.
They look pretty good, don't they?
Yeah, they look...
The redesigns for Aqua and Magma and for the player characters.
I like what they did with Maxie. I don't care for what they did with Archie.
Archie can lift now.
Archie can lift now. We can see every single one of those muscles in high definition. I think Archie took a step backward, Maxie took a step forward, Brendan took a step backward, May took a step forward. And I hope we continue with the giving us options to change our.
I do hope they keep that. Yeah.
Yes, please, because I will be very angry if they do not.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother was telling me the other day that it would be cool to see, you know, how they give us an option for the dark-skinned version of the player character. He said that it would be cool to see May as one of those. To see
That
May
would be
with the
good,
dark
yeah.
skin.
It would be cool to have a dark-skinned character because I am a dark-skinned character. Um,
Yeah, there is that.
Mm.
you have no idea how happy I was when in Battle Revolution they actually added skin tones for the American release, for the English release. I'm like, thank you. Japan didn't understand me, but you clearly did. Thank you, Genius Sorority.
Mm. Okay, moving on. The Match Bike and Acro Bike are still in the game, and the Mega Bracelet will be used instead of the Mega Ring. I'm really looking forward to how they use the bike mechanics for this 3D
Is it
appearance.
called Mega Bracelet or the Mega Bangle?
Mega
I
Bangle.
think the official translation is Mega
Mega
Bracelet,
Bangle.
but yeah, because the Poke Beach reckons the official translation is Mega Bracelet.
Uh,
Oh, he's cut out again. So yeah, the Match Bike and Acro Bike look really interesting, especially considering the speed that the Acro Bike can get to. So I wonder how they render those
Yeah, there's that.
yeah, all those overworld puzzles
Oh,
essentially.
the overworld's going to be beautiful. They did release a
They've
map for
released
that.
yeah, the new map looks amazing, honestly. Suitopolis, it looks like it just looks so pale white, which is surprising considering it's supposed to be a volcano.
Well, actually, it was all white on the inside and the outside, and a lot of your igneous rocks, when they get bleached by the sun, I know that one part of it is bleaching, and the other part of it is ash-based rocks, as
Okay.
are white, pretty much. Like, it's compressed ash, and a lot of it's quick forming and whatnot, so it's like pumice and all that stuff. But I mean, I'm not really a geologist, but that's just what I've figured as far as that goes. But I mean, I think that would be cool. The map itself, though, I think I was surprised by the map because it looks like in the sorry, I'm trying to pull the map up while I'm speaking of this, but the map itself looks like it actually has. You remember that route between Moss Deep and Suitopolis and Pacific Log and all that being entirely water? It looks like they redid that a little bit so that it isn't all water, but it's like there's like a new island out there, and I want to explore that island hardcore. But I don't know.
Oh, it looks really interesting, yeah.
Yeah. It's exciting. It's very exciting.
Anyway, next one. E3 revealed that the games will be released on November 21st in North America and Japan, and November 28th in Europe. I think Australia also has a 21st release, doesn't it?
Yeah, Australia thankfully has had the mercy of syncing with the American release, not the European one.
Oh, good.
Thank you, Nintendo!
Now, they've also provided a fancy new trailer for the games, as we all know by now, revealing that Primal Groudon is ground fire, and both Pokemon's primal forms have boosted stats and are much larger and heavier. Kyogre is actually considerably larger to its original form.
Ooh. I didn't even actually see that data. I don't think I've actually seen that. Ooh. Bigger? Well, it is prehistoric, admittedly. But I mean, you know, going with that fire ground, really? They're making it fire ground?
Honestly, I'm surprised they didn't do that the first time. I mean, it makes sense considering Kyogre's water, so that they would have Groudon as ground. But honestly, considering the fire moves it learns, I'm really surprised it wasn't ground fire originally.
Yeah. still gives it a quad weakness to water, and now it's like it goes prehistoric, and it's like, okay, now I'm even more weak to Kyogre, so that even if I do activate my drought power, he's still gonna wash me away. That I freeze Camerupt and before, there is no saving it from water moves. There is no way to save it from a water move, ever. Ever.
Here we go. Okay, next one. Finally, Mega Sableye has been revealed. It is still Dark Ghost and now carries a large red gem in front of it, which increases its defense and lowers its speed. It also drastically increases its weight, so watch out for Grassmore. What is it? I think, if I just check, the original Sableye is 24 lbs, but its Mega Evolution raises it to 354 lbs.
What the heck?
I think it's the diamond, but that is an incredible increase. I'll have to check how heavy Groudon is, actually, because I think Groudon... No, it was Groudon heaviest.
Yeah, Groudon's like a ton.
Yeah, let me just check what Groudon's weight was.
Groudon's about...
Make it the heaviest.
Groudon's about 2,090 pounds.
Yeah, okay, Groudon's still a hell of a lot heavier.
And with Primal Groudon, he gets 2,204 pounds.
Gosh. But yeah, still, it's pretty heavy now, so Grassnot's probably going to do a wallop on it. But
Yeah.
I imagine its defense obviously is going to be a lot higher than originally, but I'm surprised that it's mentioned that there's only a slight speed decrease. I don't know how fast Sableye is originally, but yeah, I would imagine it'd be a lot slower. Maybe it is.
I think it is. Sableye doesn't have amazing speed, but it does get abilities that slow it down to the point where it becomes painful, and there is a reason that one of the more useful abilities, its base speed's 50. That's not good at all. That's Trick Room usable speed. Well, but then again, that's why one of his more useful abilities, as Lunac has quite delightfully showed us, is Prankster, which gives us priority to status moves, of which Sableye learns a handful of really nice ones. But when he Mega Evolves, apparently his ability changes to Magic Bounce, which is that move that takes any status move that you throw at it, and then just reflects it back to the opponent.
Stat or status move, apparently. So as long as it's a pure stat or status move, so you can't use like Thunder on it, which has a slight chance of paralyzing, I think it is. But that would still work because it's also a damage dealing move. But if you used Thunder Wave on it, then that would bounce back. It would hit your own Pokemon instead. Same with stat moves. So if you try to use Sand Attack to lower its speed, I think that also bounces back as well. So it's going to be very surprising if you don't remember
everything ranging from Leech Seed to Thunder Wave to Charm to Stealth Rocks to Sticky Web to Tailwind to literally anything that is classified as a status move.
Anything that is targeted to the Mega Sableye.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although apparently if you use Stealth Rocks, even though it targets the entire team, it still bounces back Stealth Rocks.
Oh, okay.
Doubles. I just got burned by this the other day. I really have one of stat moves.
That's crazy though, that you could really use that in a strategy, honestly. Just because it's the fact that it's got such a high defense, the fact that its only weakness is Fairy type. So man, you could really pull something with that one.
Use Taunt, and then you could use your Prankster ability for the first couple of turns. Throw a couple status moves out, fake out like Will-Wisp or Taunt or whatever, and then immediately evolve into Mega Evolution, and then just start spamming Shadow Ball. And then suddenly, oh, my special attack got boosted? Okay, Shadow Ball, Shadow Ball, Shadow Ball, Shadow Ball, Dirt Pulse, Shadow Ball, Shadow Ball, Shadow Ball, Shadow Ball. And you can't do a thing to me because I burned you with Will-O-Wisp, and you can't status me because even if your taunt ends, I just bounce it back.
Mm.
And a lot of that.
Okay, is that everything we have to mention for all those Ruby Sapphire announcements?
I'm pretty sure that isn't all of it, but we're gonna drag the whole show on if we keep going.
Okay,
Secret
we'll move on. Okay, moving on. Google's Pokemon Master business card. Those who caught them all on Google Maps during April Fools and then later submitted their details to Google were then sent business cards with a Pokeball design that has the title Pokemon Master and then your name.
I'm just gonna point out that I didn't know about the sending your details to Google until well after the deadline.
They were supposed to send you an email, but maybe because you did that on your phone, you weren't logged in.
No, you're meant to do it. You're meant to do it on your phone. I don't know whether or not I was logged in on the phone, but yeah, I managed to catch everything in what 4 hours.
To be honest, though, the design of the business card is simple enough that you could probably just make it yourself.
I know, but it's not from Google. So I'm jealous. If you have it, I'm jealous. I will come to your house and kill you. But yeah, well done to everybody who got it.
I wonder how many of them you get. Is it just one?
You got one.
That's not an effective business card.
I want to see those people who use it in cafes where they have the little business card jar so you can win a meal or whatever, and somebody drops it in there. It's like, yeah, I'm a Pokemon master. I'm with Google. Put that on your resume.
Oh, if only. If only, if only.
Oh, well.
Okay, the final one, gotta catch them all for charity. The Speed Gamers are doing a Pokemon Marathon for charity where over the next week, starting today, they will live stream on Twitch their attempt to catch every single Pokemon possible, from Bulbasaur to Zygarde. The goal is to raise $50,000 for the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. If you want to see this, you can find their Twitch page linked on PokeBeach, as well as their donation page. So that looks interesting. I've been trying to load it for the last half an hour. It says it's live now though, so it might work. But yeah.
I wonder how they're going to do Jirachi or Celebi.
I think for those ones, I don't know if they're counting them or if they're going to get trade-ins or something, because some of them you simply can't catch in-game, so that's not possible. But I think for the most part, they will be doing their... I don't know if they're going to be doing this in a single game cartridge or if they're going to be doing it over several or something, but yeah, their goal essentially is to catch every single Pokemon.
Multiple cartridges, I would assume, because they're moving. They would have to move up multiple generations to get there.
They've only got a week to do it too, so.
Well, they are the Speed Gamers.
Look,
yeah.
discarding sleep can do amazing they can do amazing things, and if you work as a team, you can do it in shifts. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose this isn't Twitch, so Twitch plays Pokemon, so it should be fine.
Does anyone know where that is right now? Because I'm pretty sure they're at Heart Gold or something.
I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't been keeping up.
They're last I checked, they were in the Touch generation. They were in DS generation games now.
I knew that much, but outside of that, I don't know.
I think a lot of hype just died away after the first generation, so. Still, it was an interesting mechanic.
It didn't really come onto my radar until after they spent, what was it, 3 days stuck in that one route, going round and round and round and round, and then they released their starter and evolved. Maybe they were going to make into a Vaporeon, into a Flareon, and then that turned into a theological discussion.
Oh, yeah. My favorite part was in the burned mansion where they got stuck between a wall, a table, and a thief. Literally stuck. Because what they'd moved into the spot, and then the guy walks into the only the only way through. And then they spoke to him, so they battled him. And of course, once you beat them, they stopped moving. So they were literally stuck until they all fainted. So it was pretty much just several hours of them just going up and down and up and down until all their Pokemon were whittled down. Oh dear.
What was it? My favorite moment was when they were playing. I think it was Silver.
Mm.
Yeah, they got up to Mount Silver, and then they faced the trainer from the original Twitch Plays.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, I remember that because he'd changed the Pokemon, so they were the old team. It was great.
It was amazing.
Oh, so everyone had to defeat their savior.
Oh no.
That became a theological discussion all its own.
Turns out you were working for the dome.
Okay, what else do we have?
That's it. That's all that's left is IPL news.
All right, let's go with the IPL news then.
So the Meander is continuing. The Meander has reached the 5th room and has suffered an ambush. Will the adventuring party make it out?
Of course it will.
You guys, well done.
When have we haven't?
We let Pangoro, we let Pad Thai summon, his dark Azelf, and we beat it in no time at all. We had an easier time beating the dark evil god than we did beating a panda.
This is the first. I believe this is the first time you guys have suffered casualties, though.
That's true.
It's the first time you've suffered so much damage. It took out half of your health bar.
We buff like crazy beforehand usually. But it's like this time it's like, oh no, we don't have that option, so we take the full damage because we can't buff.
Yeah.
For a strike.
Yeah, we're caught flat-footed.
Yeah. Yeah, you should be right. I don't think each of them. At least you're fighting them in a group, and they're not individual health bars because we all see what happens with that.
Yeah, that's true.
You guys have had problems with target priority before, so
Yeah, I reckon this one won't be a problem.
Look, it's always like that. The room 5 should be easy enough for you. Like, we keep telling you though that the horror is in room 6, not room 5.
Yeah. Although I think there's an
Hmm.
interesting loot option at the end of room 5 that you can use against room 6.
Pay attention.
Oh dear. I'm sorry, dude. I played Yoshi's Island too much when I was young, so I'm either expecting a giant Carnivine down at the bottom of this row, or I'm expecting a giant Gyarados. Like a Gyarados, to be honest. And we're going to be trapped, and it's going to be running after us, and we're going to be trapped in the sewers, and we're going to be running for our lives from a Mega Gyarados.
Yeah, no, don't get anything. It's just freaky. It's just freaky. Just deal with it when it arrives.
I'm gonna have fun. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So best of luck to everybody who's in the Meander. For those who have suffered, adventurer.
Can I give them a hint? Can I give them a hint on what it is?
For
room 6.
Room 6.
Can I hint? Can I hint?
You can. It depends how subtle your hint is.
Hang on, I'll type it out in Skype, and then you can tell me if I'm allowed to say it or not.
Okay.
Jeez.
Basically, Yenna, Yenna has.
Oh no,
it has. Yeah, Yenna's got access to the Necronomicon, and it's just a question of whether or not Cthulhu allows her.
He has to tell me what they are because I have to draw them.
Oh dear.
Honestly, I wanted to use your cute contest entry for room 6 boss, but I had it.
Yeah, that was great.
Oh dear.
Okay, send it. Send
Hang
it.
on, I'll type it. I'll just type it here in the document.
I won't look.
There we go. See it?
Okay, that works.
That's fine. Okay, I have clearance. The hint for you guys is that you are in a sewer.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna say this. That doesn't help. Literally at all, because
No,
when,
it's just it's going to be incredibly obvious when you actually see what it is, and you're going to realize.
it's rat
But the
cake.
hint is you are in a sewer.
Muck.
I'm not saying anything. It is in a
Uh,
sewer. You guys are in a sewer, and that's all I'm saying.
See, ugh.
Is it gonna kick ass?
It's gonna kick all over our butts. I'm just saying, during our pre-planning for room 4, we were all like, sewers are the worst things ever. There's literally everything is the worst ever. I think Static's mentioned like being afraid of the water because it would become animate or something. And then like sewers are just bad news in video games, and everybody's like, sewers are bad news, sewers are bad news. So it's like, we're in a sewer. That doesn't help us. This is a fantasy sewer. This is a fantasy sewer. Are we gonna run into reavers? Are we gonna run into poop rats? What are we gonna run into?
I'm just gonna point. I'm just be thankful that you're not in a 10 by 10 corridor. Otherwise, you'd run into gelatinous cubes.
Jeez.
I brought my own gelatinous ball of slime cube. I'll just make my own. Goomy. Okay.
All right, let's move on.
Okay, I'll let Rob announce this one.
Oh, we skipped one. Okay.
Did we? Oh, we did skip one. Okay. The
didn't
World
know.
Book suggestion box has opened. Want to suggest personalities, locations, or factions into the World Book? After the show, we'll be putting up a box with a link to a Google Doc from where you can suggest these things without the Roosterlands. Things about the Roosterlands. But have a read and have a gander and post your suggestions.
Did I type Roosterlands?
You
Yes,
typed
you did.
Roosterlands.
I typed Roosterlands. Holy crap!
was
I meant the
that?
Roostlands.
Rooster. It's Roosterland now.
Okay.
Roosterlands.
This is such a cock up.
Jesus.
Oh, dear.
All right. Yeah. So if you, we are now going to start taking suggestions at the end of the show, and we'll put a suggestion box form, and you can. We've got all the lore for the Roostlands for you to start getting inspired for personalities and locations and whatnot. I don't guarantee everything is going to make it in there, but have a go. We might. I don't know. Depending on what we do, but we might give people who get successful suggestions a boon or something that they can use. I'll figure it out.
Like a key, residency key. I still haven't given away any of mine.
I'm not giving away a residency key for awesome entries because they already get the plus that they are in the World Book.
How many keys? No, wait, no. I've got 8, I think. How long do I have? Is it June or July?
I'm going. You have both months. I'm gonna send out
no, I'm just trying to remember the deadline.
Yeah, I believe I'm sending out a personal note to you guys a month before the deadline.
Yeah. Okay.
I will be dropping keys forever.
There's gonna be so many keys in July. Just so many. Anyway. Now we'll let Rob announce this one.
Cute contest! Is it a sweet dream or is it a beautiful nightmare? I don't know the tune to that. The cute contest is only 1 day left in its deadline. Only a little more time before judging begins. So many cute Pokemon? Cute. Yes.
Adorable.
Some are diabetes-inducing, others are sweet, all are going to give the judge heart palpitations.
Seriously, one entry in there that's already given me a nightmare. Please don't add anymore.
Like,
I'm not planning to do a second one.
Burned into my brain, that is.
Have you seen Lunix one?
Yes, I've seen Lunix 1, but I remember yours more, and it's etched into my memory that I can see when I close my eyes.
I haven't posted mine yet.
You should post
Oh!
Only a day left.
a day-ish. You know how I love my ish deadlines.
Yeah.
We'll see. Tomorrow's my anime night, so if I'm a little late.
I've been watching so much Star Trek TNG lately. I've just been spamming it all week.
I've got
great.
Space Dandy on my queue, but I mean, the kid contest, it started off nice. Thank you, TLX Ultimate, for getting in so early. And then we got Freya the Arcane, and then Lunix shows up.
We'll point out that after IPLcast 7, we sat and watched the Mega Evolution special.
Nice.
And
Was there any issues that week? Or was it 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
There are 3 things I draw from that episode. The first is Alon is a smug bastard.
Yeah.
The second is Pokemon has a habit of introducing annoying sidekicks the whole way through. And the third is Seabold and Professor Sycamore just so dreamy.
They are.
Whoever they chose the voice actor for Sycamore, awesome. Whoever they chose to be the voice actor for Seabold, you are amazing.
He was so happy when he heard how he spoke.
Link that to me later and I'll watch it.
It's pretty much just the English version of the Pokemon Mega Evolution special. So it's in 2 parts, I think.
Okay.
Or at least that's how you usually find it on YouTube, in 2 parts. But yeah, I think the main character, like the inexperienced one, can get kind of frustrating, and the one with the Mega Charizard X is a bit of a goth, just, emo kind of personality, but once you get past that, it's good.
Emo, he's angsty. There's an
angsty.
That's the word.
Oh no.
It's kind of frustrating that he just does not stop. I mean,
don't generalize, racist.
There's a flashback bit during the episode where it shows how he decided to start his journey. And he wasn't angsty. He seemed like a genuinely happy guy at that point. So it makes you wonder what happened to make him turn into this angsty bloke. Because it couldn't have been a tragedy. Because all he did was start training his Pokemon.
I'm gonna start pointing out
that wasn't the cause.
Copying straight off Kamata's background story. So, Pokemon, you owe me money. I've just double checked. Alon is actually spelled the way I thought Alon's name was spelled. With an I. He's French, he's allowed to be smug, his name has an I. Because you kept going, his name is Alan. It's Alan. I'm like, no, it's Alon.
Oh, I had an opponent like that way back when in my very beginning OCT adventures. I had an opponent that was spelled that way, Alon. And then I kept calling him Elaine, and then I think my dad told me, it's Alon.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, it's French.
I think it's why we refer to Sailkirk as Sailkirk and not Alan. Because everybody pronounces his name as Eileen.
Eileen.
Oh.
Oh no. Alan Sailkirk. No wonder he's so angry at us.
Hey, I was an admin at that point.
Okay, all right. right, so if that's the end of the cute contest, I'm giving away. I'm not sure exactly which residency key I'm giving away, but I'll pick one from my allotment and give one out to the first person who gives me an O power.
In X and Y. Oh, it's paused. So, first person to give reverse G, I think Kamata in that game, and O power in X and Y via the internet will receive a resident. Right now, anyone who's got their DSs or 3DSs or 2DSs can jump on and give it a shot. And
I think
now
it's
Connecting to the internet right now.
my trainer name is Gideon. So
Gideon, that's it.
Gideon.
Please.
and I am actually online. Bonus points if you can guess where I am. Besides a Pokemon Center.
Let me see.
The Elite Four.
Please
Okay.
go
Alright.
to Twitter.
So that's the
They all
What is-
kind of look like that.
yeah, one of the punks says, "Sup, I'm all about the ice types, you know, they're super chill for real."
Are you in the what's it called? That one with all the snow. I cannot remember place names from anything but like
Yeah.
first and second generation. The rest of them are just everywhere.
Okay,
No-
Luna gets the
no
key
plan.
for dropping bargain power level 1. Thanks very much. I'm just
Technically,
gonna
you
buy
already
it
get
now.
the key for winning Pop-Up Pirate before the whole episode started.
That was
Did we give you a key
serious. Oh my
Did we give you a
god.
key for Pop-Up Pirate?
Yeah, he won Pop-Up Pirate, so we said we could give him a key.
This just confirms that yeah, you get the key.
Okay, so he gets one key from both of them.
Look.
Cole's gonna be like,
I'm gonna use it now to buy stuff, because, you know.
Okay, he's gonna do that.
I don't have the 2 or 3.
Snowbell. Trainer
That's
Andreas
it,
says
Snowbell.
Snowbell.
Yeah.
Where's Snow Point?
In Sinnoh.
Oh.
Yeah. And Snowhead is Majora's Mask.
They need to remake that. They need to remake that. They need to remake that. They need to remake that.
Okay, calm down. It's the next one.
Stuck between the pre-order for Hyrule Warriors and the 2015 pre-order for the game Megan wants. So let's not have any remakes in between. It's already pretty expensive at this point.
Yeah. Has everyone actually seen that trailer for the new Legend of Zelda?
Has anyone
Yeah.
seen the trailer for Hyrule Warriors? Oh my god.
Yes. Yeah. Yes to all.
Yes. Bingo. Yeah. So good.
I saw a gif of the, he's paused again. I saw a gif on Tumblr of the Skull Kid summoning the moon, and I almost wept with how amazingly creepy it was.
Mm.
But
You know who I want as a playable character in Hyrule Warriors?
Who?
Tingle.
yes.
No, they're not gonna do that.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
It happened.
It's
Oh,
practically
It does happen.
confirmed.
Dingo. Dingo. Culo.
his main attack is he just farts fairy dust on everyone.
Oh. Yes.
All right, shall we do the battle analysis?
Battle analysis is number 954, Orestes versus Nero.
All right, let me get Orestes' work up. Hold on, is this Orestes? Yeah, this is work or Nero? Nope, no, Orestes. Do. Done, and there you go.
Alright.
Okay. So I do like this one. It's got a really nice foreshortening. I always think
Yeah.
foreshadowing, but that's not the word. So it's got really nice foreshortening, actually. I do like the angle that they're going for with this one. It gives a lot of power in the attacks.
Yeah, the Vicky's use of depth engineer is amazing. It
Mm,
definitely conveys a space, even though there is none
mm,
around it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then it does also give power to the Galade's protection, which is also
mm.
awesome. And it and then I do like the lines that they have slash shapes that they have for the impact. Overall, it works very
Mm.
well.
No, it suits the style. I really do like the poses with the Pokemon because they really do get across movement and strength, particularly the Hitmonlee's jump. Just it's not just about how the foot's positioned, but how the rest of the body is positioned. You can really get the sense that he's just putting a full leap into this.
Yeah.
Like like there's no motion lines, there's nothing like that, and you can still get that sense of movement. That's very good.
Mm-hmm. Excellent line of motion, and then the
Mm,
extended leg is also wonderful.
mm.
I'm honestly more pleased with how the Gallade looks like it's actually straining to block the attack. Personally, the way
It
he's
does look
bent
like it's
over,
preparing for a serious impact there. It's very
and then
cool.
his foot's angled up like he's actually leaning into the attack. It's
Mm,
great. And then there's that subtle shadow um, coming from his hand on the reflect and coming off. That's like the light is actually coming
mm.
off the reflect, and it's like he's actually blocking the light of the attack of his shield with his arm in it. That's wonderful.
No, it does look very good. I wonder where his other arm is. Is that
He's
Gravehead or is
just
that Gravehead's scarf?
actually the
The
Gallade
Glade
in
is one
question
arm.
doesn't
Oh,
have
okay.
another arm.
Okay. Cool. No, I really do like the poses. I think the main thing of complaint critique I could probably mention, considering the light that would be coming off the Protect, more detail into the shading could have looked really cool.
Um, it's not terribly noticeable a light background, but
Mm.
there is a highlight
I
around.
do see the highlight. I do see that. It does look good, yeah. But I reckon just even because there's a shadow on the Protect itself, as you mentioned, that's coming off of the arm. So I reckon on the back of the leg there could be something. I reckon like it's not
It could be
extremely
more.
necessary to get across this picture. Like it still looks really good, but I reckon just if you needed to add something to it, then shading would look very good.
Running the shade up the leg,
Mm,
I think would probably get that across. I do remember reading this critique, and I know that one of the complaints was the lack of background. Um, I
yeah, I can
kind of
understand
agree
that,
with that, but I
mm,
also understand time issues, and I do appreciate the depth, and it does give a good
mm,
action. The one thing that's bugging me the most, though, is how the Galade's just cut off at this.
yeah.
The edge of the page is a little awkward, and I think the lack of a background actually, or any sort of like quick swatch of what of colors that could denote. Uh, I almost don't want to say that though. Like I almost wish that it could be. Like I wish there was something that didn't. You know what it is? There's
Mm,
the scarf. The scarf's leading us right into the edge of the page. It's because like we're going from the Hitmonlee to the
mm,
reflect, and then we're going into the Gallade. But then the next thing we see from the Gallade's face and arm is the scarf outside of the page. I feel like if that
mm.
was actually pulled in a little bit or completed, then I feel like it wouldn't have been that big of an issue.
I know what
The
you mean. Yeah,
setup.
that's that whole the way the composition leads the eye. I think we've mentioned that in past episodes. But yeah,
It's
so I
important.
think regarding that, I reckon just having more of the Galadian shot, especially because there's so much space on the left of the Hitmonlee, it just seems squished to then cut off parts of the Galade. Like you could still have it cropped, but at least have some of its other legs showing. Just to make it look like there's more space between its main body and the edge of the picture, and that would also put the scarf in there. It could use some space up the top as well. There's really no need for the protect to be cropped right up the top there. But in terms of background, I understand that having one would be better, and considering the angle, you could honestly have gotten away with just putting in blue gradient for the sky and a few cloud smudges. That would take like maybe 2 minutes, and that would honestly suffice for the angle. You don't really need anything else. But considering the fact that there is no background, this picture, just by the composition and by the angle, still looks fairly solid. Like, you can you can see the depth in it even without any background whatsoever. You can still see where the Pokemon are in relation to each other, that sort of thing. So yeah, but I reckon as much as you could add a background, and that would improve it. In this case, it is not a make or break situation.
Right. This is a very strong piece compositionally as it is, I think. And at least in terms of characters and posing, I think it also works exceptionally well. Also, the colors are nice. The colors are very nice, and I love where the arm meets the reflect. I actually really do love the light and gradation they have there. That's really quite beautiful, to be honest.
Yeah, so I think my biggest complaint would just be the cropping. Just a bit more space at the top and to the right of the Gallade, and honestly, you could get away with not having a background with this one. Like I said, it would improve it, but it's not. It's not desperately needed, considering the way it looks at the moment. So you could probably put that background list onto a journal page or a web page or something like that, and it would still look really good.
Yeah. I'd also, even if you were going to turn this into a full piece, go with a slightly more slightly abstract, slightly graphic background. Just kind of quick swatch here or there, and continue to make it transparent, but like nothing too elaborate. Just something simple, because it otherwise would distract from the rest of the piece. But the only reason I kind of want to go graphic on that is because of the way the energy, the impact shapes are there. The chartreuse impact lines are there. So it's like, it's an impact. I just don't want to detract from that particular aesthetic or meaning, to be honest.
Anyone else have anything to mention?
You've already mentioned the broken line of motion here. Yeah, the shadowing is really, 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 really subtle at points. Yeah. Besides that, it just like for first impressions, it's. I have to disagree slightly about the jump height. Yeah, I'm not sure whether or not it's as high as you'd probably get with it, but considering the angle, it's forgivable.
Well, look, the angle, the way it looks is he's putting more jump into forward motion. He's putting more power into forward motion than jump height. So I can understand that he's not going to be leaping very high into the air, but he's putting all his force into moving forward, which would explain that. Because there is definitely a lot of power going forward, but you can see that very clearly.
Yeah.
I could also even suggest that going with Yenna's suggestion of the background with the blue gradient and then the clouds, I can almost suggest that if he curved it so that it almost was like a pseudo fish, you could see that the ground was curving slightly beneath them, so it's like you can see kind of where he leapt from, but on the other hand, using a more plain background I think would help. Because I think that's kind of what we're aiming for, is that we don't want to distract from what the Hitmonlee is doing with the impact and the Gallade. We don't want it to pull away from that, but we do want to, if it had to have a background, something simple to give it an anchor, but I mean... I don't know.
All right. Does anyone else have any feedback before we move on to the next piece?
None here. You've pretty much said everything.
We get to it before you do.
let's move on to Nero's work. Click.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed is that I do like the texture that the inking has caused in the background mainly.
Yes. There's that. Also, I've watched this guy through the IPL from when he first joined. This is a step up from his previous work. I do appreciate that. The textured background is nice. Something that Glade does, from what I've read on his reference sheet, is he uses Focus Blast to manifest an arm. And unfortunately, it's not that obvious here because he's going in, I think, for the close combat. So it's like you can see the orange splotches, but they don't read like he's using close combat. The Hitmonlee is.
I can see the arm, but yeah, without knowing that particular detail, I would have no idea that that's what that was.
Right. There's not a whole lot of connection to the other arm, and then there's. I think the main weakness here is that the characters have straight back to torsos. I think that's the main critique we got here is that they don't have lines of motion. Like, you can get the idea they got
it's not so much the lines of motion. Like, you could like Vichy's piece, he didn't have movement lines, but simply the way the Pokemon were posed showed a lot of movement and power in their actions. Whereas in this case, considering that their backs are both straight, it doesn't look like they're putting any power behind what they're doing. Like, if you watch videos of people kicking, you can see their whole body goes into it, essentially, the way they lean forward or back or that sort of thing. So, or the way they twist. So the way the Hitmonlee especially is posed looks like it's just lifting his legs. So all the flames on it, which would usually denote a lot of power behind the attack, just look out of place because visually there doesn't look like there's any power behind it at all. Whereas the same scene would work if you twisted the Hitmonlee's body to match the direction of the foot. So it all sort of flows into that one direction. And that itself would probably put a lot more power behind that attack, and it would look more natural, and that sort of thing. And the same with the Gallade, where it's not, it's clearly dodging because the foot's essentially next to it, the way the flames sort of appear on its body. But because its back is so straight, it doesn't look like it's dodging. It's just looking like it's standing there, and the Hitmonlee's just lifted its leg in that direction. So I reckon if it just simply angling the bodies to look like they're moving, essentially.
It's posing and composition, and I saw something I need to actually, while I'm on it, in the IPL, I don't know if we've ever mentioned this, but fairly recently, we've nuked our favorites in the IPL account and replaced it with tutorials and reference material. I don't know if we've ever announced that, but I think that it is relevant. So, like, if there is something that the admins or the judges or the secretaries find useful for writing or for artistic reasons, then that is going to be in the IPL favorites, and that should be used as a resource. But just side note, but like, that is the big weakness, and that's also something that's a little hard to wrap your head around at first, because it's like, I need my character to actually perform this motion. How does it do it? Okay, well, the leg comes up. So you start piecing it together in terms of thought processes of how does my character do this? They punch rapidly. Okay, well, what would that entail? If you were to do it yourself, one of the things that I do is when I'm trying to think of a pose and I can't quite imagine it right off the top of my head, I make that pose or think about how I'm going to make that pose myself. So, like, if I'm going to go for a punch, do I just throw my arm out and keep my back straight? Or do I, if I really wanted to do the move that they're doing, do I throw my entire weight into my punch, which arcs my back, and I take a step and all that stuff? So, like, if they're doing a high kick, then their whole body comes back just so that the leg can get up to where they need to get it to. So like even if you're reading One Piece and you'll see Sanji do any of his kicking moves, you'll notice that even when he's doing his whatever that one is that he kicks them straight up in their chin and his legs make a vertical line, you'll notice that even his back's bent backwards. He's bent off to the side just to make sure that his leg can get up that high. Or if he does, it's like it's curved up so that, it showcases his flexibility. But still, it's like, even then, he has motion within his body. So, I think that is...
I would think that this is, it's as much a question of not just body dynamics, but weight.
Yeah. The body dynamics would also help with the weight of the attack, but the weight comes in with the body dynamics, but it also, they play off of each other. And I think I don't know. I personally think that body dynamics should come first before thinking about weight, because then that can also help lead with weight, or at least distribution of it.
Yeah, that's true. The other way I think about it is that if you had a opposable doll of the Hitmonlee and you raised its leg like that, would it stay standing?
Probably not.
I'm not going to complain in that sense, because if you look at its other leg, the one that's on the ground, it's clearly not straight down. It is angled so that it would be directly below the Hitmonlee. And honestly, that's what you see when something's standing on one leg, the way their legs sort of twist so that it's literally directly below, and that's balanced. So it does look balanced, he just doesn't have power behind his attack.
Right. It feels more static than I feel that it should be.
Honestly, that's just the main complaint. It's just the posing. So I think if Nero works on that, then he could honestly make some really nice pictures.
His line work isn't bad. It's clean, but I'm not... There's a little overlap here and there, but I don't think that's bad.
No. Well, we can't... I don't even argue that line art and that sort of thing could be helped, but honestly, that's not the main focus. Like, that always looks pretty, but... I do like seeing pictures with character in them, just differently drawn, or even if it does look messy, if it's got that movement in it, if the posing and the composition is right, then honestly anything could look amazing.
Yeah. We've got all sorts of different styles and methods of doing it, and I'm just nitpicking it, honestly, and I shouldn't probably be doing it. The big issue is the posing and the dynamics of that in terms of the composition of the image that we're looking at. Like we do need, that is the big thing. That is the big detriment here, and I feel that that doesn't help. As it stands, it doesn't read like it should, and I think that's why it feels weaker than it could have been.
Definitely. One other thing, Trainer Andrea and Lunik mentioned in the DA chat that the sky behind them is very bright and saturated. It is fairly noticeable compared to the rest of the colors, which have been relatively nicely selected. They're not overly bright, so they have they essentially look natural, whereas the sky in the background just looks very, very saturated.
They used Andrea uses a term that it's very bright, and the rest of the composition has a lot of muted colors. I do agree with her that a contrast between the muted colors in the rest of the piece and then the extremely saturated, extremely bright blue does detract from that. I've honestly discovered that when you get closer to the Earth, it gets a lot brighter and a lot less blue. So honestly,
it gets whiter, essentially, yeah.
Yes. You can wash that out a little bit, and it probably would still work. To desaturate a color, you either add gray or you add brown. And since a lot of the colors in the piece, as it stands, look like it's had brown added, you could probably add gray to the sky, and probably that would help desaturate it and bring the focus to the Hitmonlee and the Gallade, whose orange is competing with the oranges and reds are competing, even though those should be ideally be the most saturated things in the piece.
One interesting thing I learned, I've been studying color lately because I am terrible at color. I cannot color for the life of me, and I think anyone that's any decent at art has probably noticed this in my works. But basically, one interesting piece of advice that I learned is when you are drawing a picture, sort of like this, never have one color and have it not appear anywhere else in the picture. So in this case, the blue, it's not just that it's not like the main thing is it's so incredibly saturated, but it's not just that, but that it's nowhere else. So it doesn't look like it fits. In this case, if you look at the Gallade spikes, where the same red is almost used for the eye as well, and the foot itself also has a lot of red in it too, but that it looks more fitting. And like with the Hitmonlee, the arms and legs, that bit looks similar to the colors in the eye. But essentially, if you're using, if you want to use a particular color, you need to make sure that it is at least two other places in the picture, whether it ideally far apart, sort of like a rule of thirds sort of thing. But essentially, it just needs to be in other places, really. It looks more tied together. So if you think about a picture with Pikachu, its cheeks are red, and then you could probably also have another red ladybug there. I mean, it's also about which red you pick, essentially. It's got to fit with the rest of the colors you're using, unless you're using lighting. Just like how the saturated blue here stands out a lot from the rest of the colors simply because the rest are so muted. Like, that would not be noticeable at all if all the other colors were saturated. So you've also got to work on that. But yeah, if you're going to use a particular color, try and use it elsewhere. In this case, you could probably use the blue on the Gallade for the sky. I mean, it would look like a cloudy sky, but it would be more. It would look more fitting, essentially.
Right. I will point out along those lines, because color theory is one of those things that I have studied, but I'm still learning, so I'm not an expert. But it is okay to use one color once or twice for details, and that's an accent color. It shouldn't.
Yeah, little things, essentially. They shouldn't be big chunks, or they especially noticeable.
Like, if we go back to Oresti's piece, you'll notice that the red's pretty much only centered on the Gallade's spikes, but it doesn't show up near the Hitmonlee. That's kind of okay. That's okay because it's an accent color to the Gallade. Like, some people will complain about Pokemon generations having specific colors or being overcomplicated or being ugly, and part of it is because the colors don't always match up. And I know that part of the way I differentiate each generation is because they all have different kind of color feels. Like not necessarily schemes, but they all have similar themes in which colors they use and how they use them. So, like, you can always tell which generation they come from. I always feel like Gen 4 is always terribly muted in gray and white. There's a lot of that. And then Gen 3 is like desaturated, but also kind of dark by comparison to the other generations. And Gen 2 is almost always super bright with their colors and kind of lighter and less saturated. But otherwise, like, Jenna does bring that up, and I do remember reading it a lot in a critique a long time ago that there is, it's like rule of thirds, but think triangles. If you can put your colors in a triangle somewhere in the piece, like not necessarily an equilateral triangle, but like somewhere so that if you drew a line between them, between the main spots of these colors that are not accents, you could probably make a triangle out of them. It doesn't have to be perfect, but that's kind of the general idea. That way it fools the mind into thinking that it's not there as it's there normally and not just, oh, here's this color, and look at this color, because color theory and psychology work well together, and that's kind of why, you get it gets a little weird to explain color theory and color palettes to people, is because of that whole psychological aspect, but whatever. The point being is that the blue is too saturated, the blue is too bright in comparison to the rest of the piece, and it doesn't tie with the rest of the color scheme. Is that critique, mostly. right.
Anything else?
I was going to ask for final thoughts because we, per 954's verdict, Vici walked away with a victory on this one.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree with them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Vicky's is much more dynamic. You can definitely tell that there is something going on. You know what's going to happen. You know what's happening there, and even though it doesn't necessarily feel like it's entirely complete, it still is a complete picture because the main motion, the main idea is still there, and it was executed there. It was the bare minimum of what the idea, but still, it was well done.
Yeah, like there's just a lot of movement and a lot of power in that picture, even without the background, even without the proper cropping and that sort of thing. It still looks very well done.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Nero's is a little chaotic and it doesn't have a real clear line of motion. It has posing problems, and I think we all agree that it could probably be rectified if, the Pokemon were posed a little more dynamically so that there was a motion within the place, and it's not just, they're standing there and then throwing their attacks, and, I almost feel like this is more obvious because they're both fighting types, using fighting type moves, which are inherently physical. So it's like whatever move you're going to be doing with them, they have to be doing, not just doing, they're doing it.
I agree. Honestly, the main. I think if Nero simply studies just the way, even the way just people move, that would really, really get across the idea of exactly how even the Pokemon would move when putting force behind these sorts of attacks, and I reckon that would really help.
This is the one time where I will condone, I will allow and say, go read comic books, go watch anime, go watch crappy action movies, because those will give you ideas of what to exaggerate, especially action movies. Because those are, they're movies, you need to exaggerate and act these attacks. And, stage theater will also help with this, because you have to put it in there so that the people in the back of the house can see what you're doing. So if there's a play that has a fight scene, pay attention to that, because that will help.
Western comic books are also extremely good at showing exaggerated poses and attacks and movements and expressions as well, actually. The reason for that is simply that it better gets across the idea of what's happening to the reader, even though it's a static form. So if you have a look at superhero comics where they're fighting each other, and you can see a lot of exaggerated poses. Essentially, whenever they do something, they put everything into it, basically, whether it's an expression or it's a punch or something like that. And if you look at the way those are posed, it would give you a really good idea, for these Pokemon especially, just exactly how to pose them for these sorts of attacks.
Yes. Also, if you're into it, and I'm not suggesting this one, the women will always be in fan servicey poses, especially if you pull from the big two, and it's one of the super mainstream, basically otaku version Western comics. I'm not saying do this because honestly, everybody's sick of it, but it's following that principle. They're all super sexy, and they're always twisting their bodies into impossible proportions because they're trying to exaggerate those specific aspects.
Yeah, over-exaggeration is always a bad idea. It looks a bit weird at that point, but it'll give you an idea, and then you can just figure out the boundaries. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, I think that's it for battle analysis. We've certainly analyzed the living daylights out of those two pieces.
There's one more thing that we can look at. Trainer Andrea has requested we have a look at a picture. It's not a battle. It's just something Pokemon related that she's drawn that she wants us to have a look at and critique and give suggestions for and that sort of thing. So that's that bottom link just there. You can have a look at. But essentially just what we think of it and what we suggest she could work on, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Okay.
So what do you think?
Where?
Hold on.
Yep,
Calm down. Hold your horses. I'm working at the speed of Australian internet.
Curse the Australian internet.
Oh, tell me about it. Okay, here we go.
So what do you think?
It's cute.
That's sweet.
Oh, you can do the ice cream.
Lily, did you say it was horrible?
I said it's adorable.
Adorable. I can't tell half the time.
I do like the posing on this. I think the posing is relatively good. Simply the way the Pokemon are shaped, it doesn't look awkward or unnatural or anything like that.
It's a good action-reaction. It has good action, it has good reaction. The Flygon's offering the ice cream. The Salamence is like, oh, are you sure I can take that?
Yeah. Like essentially the poses don't look stiff or awkward, so the posing is very good. I think the main thing I can note is the grass underneath their foot. The way it's drawn as a texture, it looks very grassy essentially. Like there's just a lot of it there. It's very full grass, and yet where the Pokemon actually connect with the grass, you can only see like a few strands there, a few blades of grass every now and then, which I think looks a bit. It's a bit of a contrast in the sense that it looks more like they're on it, not part of it, essentially. So I think in that case, more grass. Just more grass where it's touching it, I reckon.
I do say that, concerning that this is something that we have critiqued Andrea on before of incorporating the Pokemon into the background in this, I think we have told her to have grass start poking up around the Pokemon. I think this is a good start.
Yeah, this is a good start. Like it's definitely helpful, but just if the background, like the grass texture itself, wasn't as full, then it might not look quite problematic. But in this case, I think more grass would really help because you can just see just how full that grass background, and it's nicely drawn. It does look nice.
Yeah.
I think the fuzziness does work. Simply because it puts more focus on the Pokemon in this case, so it does work, but it just does need more grass.
It needs more grass.
I'd like the grass to stick out of the upper edges of this circle.
Yeah, that'd be a cute detail too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just little strands of grass sticking out from the circle itself, rather than having it perfectly smooth.
Yeah. Because it looks like you'll see it in a lot of small little vignettes where they use a circle of grass. Is that the grass doesn't stop where the upper edge of the circle is. The grass that adds dimension. It means you've got a circular patch of grass, but that doesn't stop your viewing angle from displaying the grass as it would actually look.
Yeah, but like if you think about it in a 3D sense, the way this is angled, it's not perfectly overhead. So if you think about where the blades of grass right before that circle ends would be, those are what would be sticking up in that section, essentially.
Exactly.
One good example of that would be in the Pokemon games itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. If you have a look at the little grassy bits, the platforms that they stand on in the battle, you can see the grass sticking out. Yeah.
I think they've been doing it since Gen 3, to be honest. Although I might be just falsifying a memory.
You're heaping a lot of praise on Gen 3 today.
Well, I thought that the 2D sprite work and the 2D work in that generation was honestly some of the best. And honestly, if I were to give any of the Pokemon games the graphics medal, I'd have to split it between Gen 6 and Gen 3.
Yeah.
Although mostly just the homing adventures. I think Gen 1 slipped up a little bit, but that's beside the point. My only other issue is that the only thing I would point out is be aware of where your light source is, Andrea.
I was going to mention that, yeah.
Because it's a little confusing. I understand that you are shading them, and it is. I am glad that you are shading them, but Salamence is a little odd in that his Flying got a little better in this regard because at least the front half of him is shaded. I'm sorry if I'm mixing up genders. I'm sorry. I'm just running. But Salamence's tail is then lit up, and I'm not sure that that's working. If it's good, and it's good enough that you don't notice it right away, but I think it could be a little better. I think part of it needs to be that you need to define a single light source and then work from that. And I think this is where the exercises they do make you do in drawing class of go just straight black and white. The how is it pronounced? Chiaroscuro? Chiaroscuro?
Chiaroscuro.
Yes, that. That's kind of the idea. Like, if you think of it as just, is it in light or is it in shadow? And then draw the line there. And then start from there, and then go into the deeper lights and the deeper shadows, and then move from there. I think I've got a gradient tutorial. I'll link that in the DeviantArt chat that kind of covers that. It's not like it's all about gradient shading, but it is like using gradients to give you an idea of where the lights start and where they end, using that to get you going on where a light source should start and where it should be strongest. And it uses, gradient to help with that. Yes, here it is. I'm going to link it in the chat real quick. So it's like, I'm not saying that this is how to shade, but it is, that is a good start. Something, I'll think of it in that way, in those manners as well.
Yeah, like along those lines, it's obvious that you can shade because the Pokemon do look 3D. So they don't look flat. You can clearly see the shape of their body parts and that sort of thing just from the shading that you've got there. But as Athens said, some of the lighting is wonky. One thing that could help is if you think of it if you think of the Pokemon as 3D objects. And as you said, if you establish a source of light, which, like, later on when you've got the hang of this sort of thing, you don't have to keep doing that. You've already essentially got an idea of where you want it to be and how to just scribble everything in just from that thought. But when you're just starting out, it is a good idea to draw like a dot or a little circle for the sun, if you like, if that helps. You can have like just a few lines of where the light direction will be coming from, and you just work from there. But yeah, essentially, if you wanted the light to be directly overhead, then if you think of the Salamence in particular in a 3D shape, then everything below his main body, like his feet, part of his arm, his stomach area, that would all be in shadow essentially because it's directly overhead. Same where his head sort of sticks out over his neck, that part of the neck would be in shadow. The tail would be lit up. There would be shadows cast from his wings on his legs or back or something like that. Whereas if the lighting was in front of them, then you've pretty much got it made with what you've got at the moment, with the way the arms lit up, the feet, that sort of thing. But his back would be in shadow and his tail would be in shadow and that sort of thing. Because his body's blocking that light. So I reckon if you start thinking about, like once you've drawn all the Pokemon in and you're ready to put the lighting in, if you start thinking about how they are in a 3D environment and how the shapes of their body would block or reflect light, I reckon that would really help your lighting.
Sorry, I got completely distracted by a Chiaroscuro tutorial with regards to photography, so...
But yes, I reckon if you just practice integrating the background into your pictures, like we mentioned, which you've done a good start here, but yeah, more grass. If you work on your lighting, for now, just really focus on where the direction of lighting is. You don't have to practice with fancy lighting at the moment, so don't worry about sunsets unless you think that would help. You don't have to worry about green light or red light or anything like that. You can just do what you're doing at the moment, but just figure out exactly where the light is coming from and how that would impact your Pokemon as 3D objects, not just flat things in a picture that needs to be shaded and everything. But yeah, other than that, like your posing's really good. Like they look fairly natural. The composition's nice. Nothing looks too awkward. I think if I wanted to really, really nitpick, I could probably mention like a couple of tangents, like where the bottom of the ice cream cone's just just touch the back of the salamence, which is supposed to be a no-no. That looks a bit odd. But yeah, other than that, it looks fine.
Yeah, looks great. Looks wonderful.
Mm.
And cute.
Yeah. Anything else anyone wants to mention?
I'm good. It looks great.
Yeah, same here.
Awesome.
All right.
All right, I think that's all we have for IPL Cast 8.
Yep, that's everything. Unless anyone else has any other suggestions for some battle analysis, because I think it's safe to say we enjoy doing this.
Yeah.
I know Lunik and I have a battle that's in Judgment, and I'm looking forward to that one.
I was
I've
meant
got
to
to
do
get
it.
on that. I'm terribly
I was
lazy.
meant to do it this IPL Cast, but we'll probably do it next IPL Cast. We'll
Probably.
feature something from the Meander.
Yes, we should do that, actually. That'll be interesting.
Oh dear.
So IPL Cast 9, if you manage to we'll look for something particularly good.
Once the cute contest is over, our next IPL cast, we could also do some more analysis for those entries.
Yeah, if you guys are wondering, by the way, we kind of hold off on literary criticism for now, just because it's a much more involved thing to read through
That's the
work,
sort of
and then
thing that you've got to read through beforehand and then really think about, and then everyone else has to kind of read through. Because when it's a picture, like, we can just show it to you, there it is, and you can make your own snap judgments when you need to and follow along as we go. But if it was a literary thing, you kind of also need to read it beforehand, so it'd be a lot more difficult.
yeah, and also it's I have this vulnerability. I tend to overread works. I hold back on the verdicts, but yeah, I tend to overread. So anyway, we'll leave that as is for IPL Cast 8. Again, if you have any suggestions or whatever, just pop it on the journal, pop it on the YouTube page, pop it on Google+. And we'll be back for IPL Cast 9 in a couple of weeks. And until then, that's it from everybody, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep. Yeah, we are having a bit of an after meeting, so if you want to stay back and witness that, feel free to do so. But besides that, have a good fortnight, everybody, and we'll see you for IPL Cast 9.
See you in 2 weeks.
Bye.